don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 374th episode of the Political Spotlight. I am your host, as always, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. Producer Kate is at the controls, making sure everything is going smoothly and helping me not look like as big of an idiot as I am, and we're going to try to get through this in one piece. So, I did not have the day that I thought that I would have today, and it made me extremely unhappy. And I had to let some of our amazingly detestable Delaware County elected officials know about it. And it's really hard when, you've got a good person in amongst these people, and you're kind of like laying the law down. Like I was directing the anger to two people, but they're kind of like all sitting there. And so it's been a day. For those of you that were hoping to see the fireworks, you more than likely didn't see. Maybe some of them heard. I talked to somebody who heard something was going on, but didn't know that it was me. And a lot of the rest of you are disappointed because we didn't live stream the meeting. Well, we did. We live streamed about 18 minutes of the meeting. And the live streaming feed coming out of the county building was so bad that I just said to hell with it and killed it and ended it and deleted it and just said, go jump on the county's feed. It sucks, but I'm not dealing with it anymore. And I didn't like the headache of having to try to check it. And, so I just said, screw it. So we're going to be talking about that, all of that. We're going to be talking about the pro-solar people. They are on the move, ladies and gentlemen, and they are starting to kind of coalesce around one idea and coming in and letting them know where they stand. Now, I don't believe that they are anywhere as organized as the anti-solar folks are. So that is one good thing about it, but they are on the move, and they're going to be basically giving some cover to and for the solar companies. They're going to be providing some backup for the solar company. So we need to talk about that. We're going to be talking about that. And then probably most concerning, and probably what we'll be spending the majority of tonight's episode on, is public enemy number one. And, over the last several years, locally in Delaware County, in my opinion, public enemy number one has been James King, getting rid of James King. And that happened. We were able to make sure that King no longer had a seat at the table. He has a replacement at that table in that seat, and that replacement is doing a fantastic job. That job continued today, and he continued doing a fantastic job today. But we now have someone else that we need to look at and talk, and it's not confusing. I'm not going to be pulling a name out of a hat. I want to get rid of so many other elected officials and get them out of office and put them back to the private sector. But I'm not going to just say like JD Prescott or, Scott Alexander. It's going to be obviously very, very easy to guess who I'm talking about. He's on the thumbnail. It is Shannon Henry, obviously. So we're going to talk about what happened there. There's a lot to talk about and kind of unpack from the Delaware County Commissioners meeting, and we're going to get to all of that. But before we do, I want to ask that you please do us a favor. If you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. You know how YouTube works, whether you're watching on YouTube or Rumble or Facebook. We welcome you, or whether you're on X or whatever, we welcome you, and we thank you for being here. However you are here, whether you're watching live right now, which right now is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, just a little after 9 p.m. So that's when the here and now is. If you are watching live, we would ask that you please communicate with us. Let us know what's going on. You can comment over here on the right-hand side. And we would also ask that you give us hit the like button. And like I said, if you're new here, subscribe, click the bell, and do all of that stuff. Above all else, share the show with everyone you know. That's really important. And so that would be fantastic. Also, if you are interested in following various things on social media, finding out what we might talk about each night, you might want to think about connecting with us on the social medias. And you can do that by checking out checking out the social medias down here at the bottom of the screen. Obviously, we are on YouTube, Rumble, and X at the moment. We're also on Facebook. But if you want to check out our social media accounts during the day, we've got 2 Facebook page, count them 2, Kristopher H. Bilbrey on Facebook, the Political Spotlight on Facebook. And then, of course, we have X and the YouTube and Rumble account there. So check all of that out, and we will now get into the show. Yeah, while all of this thing was going on today in Delaware County, at nearly the same time over in Madison County, they were also going through a commissioners meeting. And I don't know if it's just that time of the month, or if it's the cold weather or what's going on, but they had a pretty bizarre ordeal and showing in the Madison County Commissioners meeting as well. So we started the show just right out, me kind of griping and bitching. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about the Delaware County Commissioners meeting that went on today. We're going to tell our story today and tonight, and then tomorrow, Wednesday, we're going to have Catherine on, and Catherine's going to come on, and they're going to go. We're going to go over what happened at the commissioners meeting today. We're going to talk with her tomorrow, but we figured we'd get Delaware County out of the way now. So the Delaware County Commissioners met today. It's Tuesday, and the reason they met today was because Martin Luther King Day was yesterday. And so they didn't meet. They would have generally met yesterday. They always meet the first and third Mondays of each month. And so they met today, and the meeting starts at 9 o'clock. Okay. And they generally run about, in the past, they were running 20, 30 minutes, but with Brand behind the commissioner's table now and in one of the seats, you can expect them to go a little bit longer, because he's somebody that likes to ask questions and likes to give some education to the citizens listening. So he makes it go a little bit longer, which I love. I think it's fantastic. Getting as much information out to the people is great. So I have no issue with that. So we're going to go through the meeting here, and I'm going to show you bits and pieces of it. Again, we do not have the meeting on our channel. I hate saying that. I love when we live stream the meetings and things like that, but unfortunately today, because of one of the problems that we're going to talk about, we were unable to make it happen. So if you want to watch the meeting, I will put the link to the Delaware County Commissioners meeting in the description of this episode, so you can watch that full and with none of my nonsense. Okay, if you want to so watch it that way. I was going to say without any noise, but that's not true, because there's a lot of static and chaos that go on in the video because of the system they have set up. But so the meeting started at 9, and I wanted to get there as close to 9 as possible, because I know that the commissioners do this thing. Now, we've talked on this channel a lot about how public comment occurs, and what, a lot of people are like, wait a minute, is that legal? And I always have to tell everybody, and I want to go through this, okay? So, and I really want people to understand what I'm saying, because I get so many questions about this. It is kind of a double-edged sword. It's a catch-22. It's kind of a strange situation. So technically, under the law in the state of Indiana, now I'm only talking about the 92 counties in Indiana, all governmental entities in the state of Indiana, if they are a body that has, more than one member, 2, 3 members, 3 members, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, however many people are on the body, if they have a meeting, unless it's an executive meeting, it has to be open to the public, and the public is allowed to attend, and the public is allowed to take notes. The public is allowed to record it by video or audio or whatever, okay? And that's the situation. And now a lot of people say, well, wait a minute, I'm allowed to speak, right? Well, yes and no, no and yes. So technically, under the law, they do not have to allow for public comment unless it is a public hearing, where it's a public hearing that they've called, or a new money item. If it's something that's going to be dealing with new money, then they have to allow the citizens to speak. But they don't have to allow citizens to speak before or after each vote. They don't have to allow citizens to speak at the beginning or the end of the meetings, or the middle of the meetings, or whatever. All right. That being said, all right, I always say, as I have been told by many attorneys, constitutional attorneys, federal constitutional law scholars, people from the ACLU, on and on, it's kind of a catch-22, because we have a First Amendment right? We're in a public building. We are engaging with our elected officials. So it's hard for them to shut you down. Now, that's if you want to kind of get, playing the game and you're trying to force it. Remove that. Most of your boards, most of your commissions, your bodies, your councils, and all of these government entities, the good majority of them allow some form of public comment during their standard regular meetings. They understand that these meetings are where they get together to do the business of the government that they're in, and they understand that this is a way for citizens to engage them, yada, 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 back and forth. So most of the places throughout Indiana allow public comment of some sort during the meetings, either before the meeting gets started, like once the meeting gets started, but before everything gets going, or at the end. Some places do it both at the beginning and the end. Some places like Muncie do it at the end, but then they also allow comment on each vote that they take. Really, I say that Muncie probably does it the best. For everything wrong Muncie has done, does, continues to do, will do, one thing I give them credit for is how they allow their public comment, or the public to speak, rather, in the meetings. I always say they do it right. 98% of the time. They are capable of screwing stuff up here and there. So Delaware County Council and the Delaware County Commissioners used to handle things the same way. They would set out a sign-up sheet outside of the meeting. The meeting both would begin at 9 a.m. The commissioners' meetings are 9 a.m. on the first and third Mondays, and the council meeting is on the fourth Tuesday of the month. And as soon as the meeting would begin, both of these bodies would have someone from up in their area run out and get the sign-in sheet and bring the sign-in sheet back to them. And that's the list they would have. And that's cool if people are getting there at 8:45, 8:50, and are able to get there a few minutes beforehand. However, that presents a problem for anybody that gets to a meeting at 9:15, at 9:20. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you get to a Delaware County Council meeting that you want to speak at, and you're very passionate about what you're going to speak, and you've got it all written down. You've taken time off work, and because you've got children or whatever, you've done the thing with the children or whatever the deal is in the morning, and you get there at 9:30, and you sit through a 2.5 hour long meeting. You get to the end, they call on the public comments, and one person signed up, but you didn't. They let the person speak that signed up, but then they tell you, no, you can't speak. They've done that in the past. The Delaware County Commissioners have done that in the past. Matter of fact, it wasn't too long ago. It's been within the last 6 months that we witnessed the commissioners do that very same thing to Janet Grenand. And it was involving the solar deal. She got to the meeting right early, like 5 or 10 minutes after the meeting started, just right at the very beginning. She got to the meeting. She sat down in the meeting. She was there with all these people that were planning to speak. She had words to say. She wanted to address and redress her government. And because she got there, she didn't see a sign-up sheet. She didn't sign up. The commissioners called everybody's name on the list, and they get to the end, and she's like, what about me? And James King, who was the president, said, you weren't on the list. She's like, there wasn't a list. And they went back and forth about this, and I was nasty about this. I sent emails to all three of the commissioners at the time, King, Shannon, and Sherry. I told them that this was a bunch of bullshit. And listen, I want to say this for the argument for everybody and everybody everywhere. I understand that you get more bees with honey, all right? But as I was telling an elected official today from a different body of government, I said, listen, you guys are all new. The person I was talking to, and it's not Stephen Brand. I wasn't talking to Stephen. I talked to Stephen Brand today, but this was not Brand that I was talking to. This was somebody else. And I said, listen, you're new. I'm not new. I've been here a long time, doing this a long time. I have been nice. I've gone through the steps of being nice and bending over backwards and getting walked on and stepped on. And I'm sorry that you're new, and so our interactions are new, but I'm not looking at you as new elected official. I'm looking at you as counselor number whatever, or commissioner number whatever, or city councilor. You see what I'm saying? I'm looking at you as the role as the public servant. I'm looking at you as your seat. So I'm past the point of asking for common sense things out of the people that work for me politely. Now, look, I don't go in there, and I'm not a dick when I go in. I don't go in and say, well, damn it, you're going to let me talk. I'm going to, I don't do that. I go up and I say, hey, excuse me, I'd like to talk. I'd like to be heard. And then they give me some bullshit answer for why they're not going to allow me to speak, which to me is violating my First Amendment right. I'm not going to be nice about that. And what's funny to me is we just all sat around yesterday, remember, and watched 6 hours of an inauguration of a man that you all love, that we all love, the Republicans like, we like it. Look, I'm happy I got in trouble for saying this last time because people thought I was a Democrat. Yay, Trump's here. But a lot of the reason that you people like Trump is because he's brash, because of the way he just says, all right, I'm not putting up with any of the crap and I'm getting stuff done. But yet when I tell you the same thing, you're like, well, it's your delivery. And to me, I think that's hypocritical. I don't understand how you compartmentalize that in your mind and say, well, I love Trump when he's doing it, but when someone's doing it to me as an elected official, I don't like it. Maybe you ought to consider that. So it's not like I go in here with an attitude. I know these people all think I do because he's storming in. I sit around, I smile, I wave at everybody. I don't know how many different elected officials I waved at today. I got there late. It's because there were things going on. It was a very cold morning. We had a lot of crap going on. Oh, no. I didn't get to speak. And listen, I think in my opinion, it's viewpoint discrimination. It's not like they had no public comment. They let like 8 or 9 other people speak. They just didn't allow me to speak. And we're going to talk about all this, and I'm going to show it to you. You're going to see it. I'm going to give you the rundown on everything that's going on. I'm just letting you know. I'm tired of hearing that it could be done nicer. I'm tired of you thinking that you get a gold star because you're doing the bare minimum. You're not even doing the bare minimum. Yeah. You're not even doing the bare minimum. Okay? So excuse me if I'm not ready to, ask you out on a date, and I'm not going to fluff your pillow up for you and tell you how wonderful you are. That's just not going to happen. There is a level of expectation. When you go into your work in the morning and your boss comes up to you and says, hey, I need you to get this done right away, you don't turn around to that boss and say, could you try that a little nicer? Could you try that a little nicer? You don't get to do that. Yeah, right? Think about this. What could have caused people to be held up today? There was a 2-hour delay. Could anybody have been dropping children off or making arrangements for that? You don't know what goes on or doesn't go on in my life. You don't know what I was doing or not doing. And I don't talk about my personal life in that way. All I'm telling you is I knew the meeting started at 9 o'clock. I did my very level damnedest to get there at or before 9 because I knew what was going to happen. But I got there at like 5 after 9. I got there. I was right there, like literally right at the beginning of the meeting. But they took the sign-up sheet away. Now, it's my belief that you don't need to sign up to speak anyways. So I think that sign-up sheet is a bunch of shit. They can have it if they want it, but I'm going to work something out. I'm telling you, we're going to get this solved in Delaware County one way or another. And everywhere else I can see or hear, I am going to make sure that the elected officials understand that they are not going to dictate how the shit is ran. They are not the people in charge. Pretty please? With sugar on top? I could say it like that if you want me to. You're the public servants. So, let's back up. Let's go through the meeting and let's see what happened here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we're not going to go through all of this, okay? We're not going to, if you want to watch all of it, go over to the meeting and you can see the meeting and watch it all there. It's about an hour and 50 minutes, so that lets you know about how long it is. And complaint.
Wow.
You can get there.
They had a long meeting. Almost 2 hours?
Yeah, can you believe it?
I'm surprised they're all still alive.
Yeah, right. Well, so number one, and last time I was like, man, what's going on here? I got spoiled last time. They put this agenda up last time and allowed people to see it like the night before, a couple nights before. However, as of last night, I was unable to find this agenda anywhere. I was not able to find it on the website. So that was one thing that I was going to address in the comments today. I was going to say, hello, do you think that we could get kind of in a pattern here where we do it the same way each and every meeting? It would be helpful if we could. Now, I'm going to talk to Brand, and I just hate saying like there's all this bad government and I got to go dump everything on Brand. He's already got a lot on his plate. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're right, GW. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Well, yeah, the audio was awful. The video was awful. It was buffering. It was unwatchable today. It was really, really unwatchable. I'll be honest. It was very bad. So let's get into this meeting here. Okay. The meeting started right at 9. So they were on time. And we'll
announcement of this meeting. We had good morning, everyone. We'll call this meeting to order. This is the Delaware County Commissioners meeting. It's Tuesday, January 21st. Time is 9:01. Let's open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
comment that we were looking for additional board members for both the Fair
Now,
Board and the BZA Board. Both
problem number one.
And as a result,
Did you notice the cut? I don't know what happened there. I don't know what that is. I'll be really honest. Okay. I don't know if that was edited for some reason by Mark Slusher. I don't know if that was a buffering error, that it was just going around and 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 around. That you understand? I don't know why that cut out. I have no idea. That's a problem. We need to deal with this, because you watched it. They were getting up to say the pledge and to do that little thing. And then the very next thing we know is, boom, they're back in their seat and Brand is talking. So that's issue number one. All right. David Williams says, let me first start off saying that you're doing a great job addressing your government, but you have made a lot of enemies over the years. And that's absolutely true. And they're never going to forget that, especially Henry. And that is absolutely true. The only person that has a better memory than Shannon Henry is my fat ass. And he can bet I will never forget it. And I am going to do literally whatever I can do to run him out of office. Period. He's horrible. He's ridiculous. He is not a public servant, and it's time for him to go. You can just watch him. You can watch him in these meetings with the sound off and just watching his body language, and you can tell he has no business being where he is at. It's gross. Okay. So let's continue on. And all of you people that are asking me questions like, what did Brand say? And all of this. And I'm going to talk to you about all of that. I'll give you all of that information. Tweety Bird talking about the AI thing. I hear what you're saying, and we're going to address that too. I'm just going to go kind of in a chronological order, because that's how I have it spelled out here in front of me. So we will get to all of that. I promise. Okay. Number one, we've been having audio issues. What have I been saying? You can have video issues, no problem. You can have glitches. You can have it pause, but the audio has to be good. Well, the audio hasn't been good, and it is still not good. And today it was bad. Now, on top of the audio, we're having video issues. The only thing that I'm going to take out of order is this. Close to the very end of the meeting, Mark Slusher was asked to come out of his room, and he did approach them, and they asked about the microphones and getting new microphones, and he talked to them. They had a pretty decent back and forth. Stephen asked a lot of questions. It was a lot of good questions, and it sounds as if the microphones are on the way to being repaired. It is something that has to happen. It sounds like it's going to happen. They are all aware that it's bad. I just don't know what the time frame of it is. It seems as if it's going to happen pretty soon. I would say it's going to happen within the next month or two. I have no way of knowing if that's true or not. That's just my belief based on what I heard from them today. I have not talked to anybody about that. I've not talked to Brand. I've not talked to any of the other commissioners or counselors. I've not talked to Slusher. I just picked that up from what I heard today. It seems like it should be done within the next month or so. So I think that could be being fixed correctly soon. I hope. Now, I hope they're also looking into whatever was going on today. Look, maybe it's cold. Maybe that was the problem. I get it. It doesn't always happen. So as long as it's fixed next time, no big deal. But if we get into a situation where we start having major buffering issues and it starts cutting things out of the meeting and it's a problem, then they're going to need to address the video stuff as well. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on that. So there's two issues. One, I'm knocking them about the microphones, but I think they're going to take care of. So, okay, that's good. The video, I'm going to give them a little bit longer on because I think it might have just been a freak occurrence, but I'm not going to give them a whole lot of time to figure it out. If it starts becoming a problem, then it's something that they're going to have to address. Okay. Carrie, there is, Slusher went to talk to somebody. I don't know if it was Sight and Sound. They said who it was, but I was kind of outside in the hall. And I even like that they said that when he puts in this new audio equipment, he's even going to put a speaker out in the hallway so the people who are out there in the overflow will be able to hear. And that's good. I applaud that effort because that was a problem. Like today, it was standing room only in there, which is another thing that we're going to get to here in a minute, talking about the solar. But okay, let's go on from here. I just wanted to bring up that serious issue that you're going to watch points of this video cut out, and that's not good.
People provide interest.
What they're talking about right now, going right into this because we missed the very first part of a speech, they are looking to appoint someone to the BZA, and the position they have to appoint for the BZA, that position is a balanced board. So it has to be so many Republicans, so many Democrats. And the exact position they're appointing for, it was a Democrat position, and whoever was in it last told them that they were a Democrat, but they weren't really. They had voted Republican, so they had I don't know if it was on purpose or accident. I don't even know. I don't know what the deal was there, but they did catch it, and they pulled the person off. So they are trying to fill a Democrat spot on the BZA. And let's listen to what happens here.
For the BZA board, and our attorney, John Brook, can clarify a little bit better, but there's a Indiana code that precludes somebody from serving on the BZA board if they serve on another board. So a few of the folks that reach out to us, once we vetted them, they serve on other boards. But we did have a couple that qualified. I spoke to a couple individuals. I believe Commissioner Henry spoke to a couple of individuals. And so we are to the point where we need to make a nomination of the folks we spoke for. I would also ask President Henry if somebody is here that is nominated, if they would like to speak and address the board, that they'd be allowed to do so.
Okay, all right, good.
And I think this individual needs to be a registered Democrat.
Yeah, that's correct. This is a Democrat. We had somebody previously on the board that was under a Democrat appointment that was not a Democrat.
So do we have nominations?
I would like to nominate Audie Barber.
Lee Barber, I live here in Muncie. I've been following politics for quite a while now. I've been a Democrat all my life. I'm a common sense type person. I don't believe in, doing what somebody tells me to do just because they want it done. I make my own decisions. I'll take both sides into consideration with this appointment and do what's right for the county. Because at this point it's about the county. It's not about individuals and stuff. I think what's best for the county to move the county forward will help out. So I do not serve on any boards, nor have I served on any boards in the past. And it's a new venture I'd like to get started.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so when Edwin, you called the name, if the commissioners would just state the last name of the individual who they would like to serve on the BZA.
Okay. Start with Commissioner Reagan. Barber. Commissioner Brand. Barber. Commissioner Henry.
Barber.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Well, congratulations, Audie Barber.
I recommend you work with Kylene Swack.
Just like that, Audie Barber is
and read through
an asshole that I'll have to
BCA
fight.
functionality and to being on that
No,
board.
I'm excited for him.
Or on it
That's
as a
good.
volunteer, then you would move on to that board later.
That's what they recommend, and like I tell them, the 2 weeks of the fair, the 4-H fair and the carnival is very intense, but it's the
Get out of here.
things that go on before that we need people to be looking at to make some recommendations on how we can improve the fair, because they are always needing some monies to do the buildings, something, and cash is very short, so we need someone with a background of buildings and also some finance people.
It's a very active board, and people think about the fair board and you think about the 2 weeks of the fair, but there's a lot that goes on out there. at the
So
fair.
this is the fair board.
There's a lot that goes on. So those board members and volunteers are very active throughout the year.
Just like at home, there's always something that breaks. No money sometimes, so.
Okay,
Thank you.
so we're good on fair board right now.
That's right.
The Central Indiana Regional Planning District Board. We have 2 members.
So you self will be next.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it here for a second and talk to y'all for a minute. So number one, yeah, I'm happy for Audie. That's very cool. Number two, no, Brand asked questions. Listen, Brand did what he should do. And I don't fault him for it. I think he did a great job. I think everything was good. And I'm happy. I'm happy that he was doing what he could. And then we spoke, and I'm I'm not going to speak word for word what he and I spoke about, but there are aspects of what we talked about that, to me, because I was relaying to him information that I planned to relay, and we were talking about that. I was talking to him not as like a digging up information. I was talking to him as an elected official, my elected official. I'm going to convey to you what he said to me. Some of what we talked about, I'll convey to you and let you guys hear that here in a moment. But yeah, Brand did a great job today once again. He asked questions when it was necessary. He interjected when it was necessary. And we will get to his either involvement or non-involvement with my issue at the end, and I will fill you in on everything that goes on there. And let me tell you, I want to be very clear. Okay, yeah. So here's what we're doing, and this is what I'm trying to get. So this is what we generally do when we have a situation where the board is the volume sound is low. We'll play it, and then if I'm going to pause and interject something, I will give you a second. I'll put my hand up so you can have time to adjust the volume. And I apologize. Again, there's nothing we can do about the volume. I don't know why it's so wonky, because like here where I'm at, the sound is shitty because it's like gravelly, but I can hear it well. So I don't understand why it's not coming through well. Like that, it doesn't really make sense to me. But I will at least let you guys know before I start to speak, and I'll try to only shorten those times so it's not a bunch of up and down and up and down and up and down. But I want to be their mics are just horrible. I mean, it's just absolutely horrible what they've got going on there. They are going to fix it. This won't be like this forever. Hopefully, thank God, soon. Hopefully something will happen. Okay. Listen, I want to be clear. If I think that Brand is doing something wrong or something that I don't like or something that he needs to get called out for, or if we disagree on something, I have got no problem calling him out. I also don't have a problem in disagreeing with an elected official and not being mad or hateful or not being like it's okay for us to disagree on things and still be like friendly and supportive. So there are going to be times that he and I will disagree on something, and it's cool. There may be a time when I don't like something that he does, and I tell him about it. But the thing about Brand that I know is he will be willing to talk about it. Brand will never do. Here's what you're going to see. You're going to see two different types of elected officials in this video. You're going to see Stephen Brand, who is a public servant, and you're going to see Shannon Henry, who is a self-servant. And that's like what the deal is here. Hey, the county these microphones would be great for the county. The problem is they are expensive as hell. So, but it wouldn't, you can go you don't have to get a top of the line Shure microphone. They make microphones. Shure makes microphones that are $50 a pop that would be able, there's only like 10 different microphones up in that area. They could easily outfit that. I mean, I've always said, I don't understand what's happening. Whoever's doing this is doing it to look for money. Now, I will tell you, when they talk about the mic situation, they say that it looks like a good price. So it sounds like whoever's doing it's doing it right this time. I hope they do. Okay. All right. Here we go. We're going to go on with the no, here's the deal, DC Swamp Drainer. So first of all, I never got in with Brand. I never got in with. I was supportive of Dan when Dan ran for office. I was very much supportive of Dan, and my falling out with Dan happened before he ever took office. Dan, from the point that Dan won the election, Dan did a bunch of screwed up nonsense from like a week after the election during the 3 months before he took office. And so starting on day one, he was already not communicating. He was already not being transparent. So I was never cozy with Dan. I was supportive of Dan as a candidate, but I was one of the first people to come out calling Dan out as an elected official and took a shit ton of hell for it. Everybody and their brother was like, oh, he's not, that's what they would all tell me. Well, he's not even taken over as mayor yet. You've got to give him a chance. Then when he was in mayor, it was like, well, he's only been in there for a week. You got to give him a chance. And I'm like, what do you mean? I gotta give him a chance to tell the truth, to do the right thing, to communicate. No, I'm not going to give him a chance to do that. He's either doing it or he's not. The deal with Brand, I didn't like James King. I don't like James King. And I said, even if there are things I don't like about Brand, which right now there aren't things I don't like about him, anybody is better than King at this point. If Dan Ridenour ran against King, I would have voted Dan Ridenour over James King, because although I don't like Dan, there are a handful of things that I like that Dan does. King was a horrible elected official. What I'm saying about Brand is he's doing a great job so far. He's only 2 meetings in. If or when I need to ball Brand out about something, I will do that with no problem. And so I just want folks to understand, if or when that time comes, it's just like anybody else. I don't immediately just go to DEFCON 10. Okay, you suck. It's over. I'm like, hey, I don't like that this happened, or I don't agree with this. And we can agree to disagree. We can agree and one of us change our minds, or whatever. And we can walk away being cool. There are also times where I'm like, hey, I don't like this or that. And that's just that way. That's being an elected official. The thing that I like about Brand is, even when those times happen, so far, everything I've seen is he will fully do what he can to at least communicate through the problem. My number one thing is, I don't care what the issue is. If you're not willing to communicate, that's the problem. And so many of these people are unwilling to communicate. And that has been the problem with so many of these people. Communication is looked at as something, it's just like, no, we don't do that. And that's the problem. Okay, we're going back to the video.
So you'd like to make a motion to table the,
I'll make a motion to table the ECIRPD board
Second.
appointments for myself and Sharon.
we have a motion to table those board appointments in a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. All right, next we'll go to tabled business. We have the handbook revisions and that ordinance, which I would suggest we keep tabled, correct?
Pam?
Yeah, we need to go ahead and table that. We have our first meeting this Thursday.
Okay.
So we'll have something maybe to report back to you
Very good.
next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have the 911 Center chair lease. Mr. Cummings?
So after last meeting, I did some further research. There were some meetings with a couple of local vendors. I'm confident to say that this chair lease is a good deal, and I'm requesting that you approve it and sign it.
Yeah, thank you. So I had asked you to reach out to some local firms and you did that. You didn't get a favorable response or reaction from any of those folks, right? I also, I communicated with Andrew Dale, used to be in this business, and he looked it over and he recommended, said that this was a good deal for.
For special meeting minutes for December 30th.
All right, here we go. So you saw right there where they were talking about one issue and then it got cut. And again, that's something that can't be happening. Keep that stuff in mind when we go later into the agenda and we're talking about the AI that Tweety Bird was talking about. Now, to answer DC Swamp Drainer, you're asking what is the ECI? It's actually ECIRPD, which is the East Central Indiana Regional. I always screw it up. ECIRPD. Okay, so ECIRPD is the what the hell? ECI Regional Planning District. And it is a multi-county regional planning district for economic development. And it's it's kind of like another group that did things similar to what Brad Bookout's group does. Matter of fact, Brad Bookout was a member of this body. I don't know that he still is. I don't think that he is now. No, matter of fact, he is not. And so, yeah, they do what we do overview. The ECIRPD makes a point to maintain close two-way contact with elected officials, community leaders, economic development directors, and local residents in order to ensure awareness of the specific needs of local government entities. We offer a team approach to the regional concerns and opportunities, helping to advance economic development and the quality of living in the district through strategic thinking, visioning, and planning in the following areas. And so they just have a lot of different places where they try to help. So the very long and short of this is they're a middleman. They are a middleman between government entities like the commissioners, the city of Muncie, Marion mayor's office, the different areas there, the town, Daleville, Albany. They are the middleman between those entities and, say, a business that might want to come to that area. And so basically, in large cities where you have a team of economic development people, things like this wouldn't really exist. But because Albany and Daleville and Yorktown and all these small communities, they don't have a team of economic development people, you get something like this that says, well, hey, for a price, we can help you do X, Y, and Z. And so they get up a big grouping of governments that pay them money, and they make money to try to make things happen with them through economic development. And it's beneficial in some ways, and in some ways I'm like, I see it. What I don't like about it is how it's so incestuous. You had Brad Bookout's company, and Brad Bookout's company, Bill Walters worked for him. Then you've got the ECIRPD, where Bill Walters is in charge of, and Brad Bookout worked for him. And then Bill Walters was the campaign chair for James King, and James King would appoint him to all these other boards. James King was the commissioner. He was also the chief of police in Daleville, and Bill Walters was on the town council in Daleville. So you're just plugging 2 or 3 or 4 people into all these different spots and saying, look, it's all good. There's no conflict. Bullshit. See what I'm saying? So let's see what's GW saying here. They're trying to turn a residential property to a business property near the new homeless apartments off 12th. They own multiple properties in town. Yes, they sent in their realtor to the last Delaware Muncie Metropolitan Planning Commission. Yeah, they're I'm going to stop there, because I would say they're in it to make a dollar. They're in it to make money for themselves. They're going to be like, but look at all the good work we've done, So, yeah, check them out. It's definitely interesting. So, okay. So what they actually do here is they go on down. It jumped. We're going to jump through the approval of the minutes. They put all of that stuff on. I'm going to jump down to where Stephen Brand is talking about the solar moratorium. Okay. And let me, I want to be sure to tell you, by this point in the meeting, I'm there. And you see, we're 6 minutes in. I'm sitting here watching this from the hallway. So I'm at the meeting at this point. We're 6 minutes in, and I'm there. And so keep that in your mind when we get to the public comments.
I've not seen them yet.
Commission would have to take action if we're going to amend the solar ordinance and put a moratorium in place. That moratorium is in meeting minutes. It'll watch a video, even if it's
okay. Here he talks about the AI.
Councilman Cantz and I met with a gentleman from the Google business world, and what we were talking about was artificial intelligence tools that we can lay over some of the processes that we do throughout the county, specifically the meeting minutes. And I have already briefed Auditor Ed Carroll about this. There is a Google tool called Notebook LM, and you can basically take your agenda as well as the video right off of YouTube, pull it into this tool, and it will create meeting minutes based on the instructions that you give it. This will save the auditor's office a ton of time. There is a free utility tool online, but I recommend that we explore getting something a little more sophisticated. And you can literally generate the meeting minutes. It'll watch a video, even if it's an hour or 2 or 3 hours. It'll assess this video, and it'll take your agenda. Dependent upon the instructions that you write, it'll generate the meeting minutes in about 10 seconds. So I look for big improvements in efficiencies throughout all of our government offices.
Second.
Motion to remove it from the table. Roll call, please.
Okay, so got to stop here because, again, they were talking about something pretty serious, but then it just cuts out. So I will tell you from being there, basically they're talking about this now. To speak to Tweety Bird's comments, no, it would be a problem. A problem that they would have would be, there would be a problem with you taking a video like this or videos where they've had really bad audio problems and trying to have AI pull it out and do a good job. There would be a problem with that. Here's hoping that the video quality, audio video quality gets better here in the next meeting or so. That's what is on the horizon. I do think that this is a good idea. I don't really know what the answer is. I'm not a big AI fan. I will know. I will let you know that I don't know what the city of Muncie uses, and I need to text Brand and tell him, maybe he has, I don't know. But if he hasn't, he needs to get with Lacey from the Muncie City Clerk's office, because the way that they do their minutes is amazing. And they've been doing it this way for years. They record the meeting on their computer, and then they put in some kind of software like Google Talk to Text or whatever, and they play the meeting back, and it does the same thing. Now, they then have to go in with a human. They have to go in with their eyes and look about what's happening and make sure that there are no errors. And so that does take, like, say, half a day. But it's a lot faster. Now, my question is, I don't understand what the auditor's office is doing, because the city of Muncie has been doing their minutes, and their minutes are way crazy, and they put everything in. I've always famously said, if you go to the podium at the Muncie City Council and you burp or fart, it's going to be in the minutes. It's going to be in the minutes. So hold it in when you go up there, because they don't leave anything out. The counties have never been that advanced. And I heard what he said there when he was like, you could put instructions in. And I'm a little leery of that, because I don't want them to say, here's what I want. I expect the minutes should be the minutes of what's said in a meeting. It should put as much in there as possibly accurate as they possibly can, and be accurate. They should make it a standing record. Now, the Indiana Public Access Counselor, the law states that it doesn't have to be that, that big. It doesn't have to be everything. It just has to kind of keep the meeting in a fashion where people can look back, and really all they have to do by law is look at who was there, keep track of who was there, keep track of what the votes are on specific issues, and label what it is they're voting on. That's all they've got to do. They don't have to do more than that. Now, to me, that's one of those things that's the bare minimum. So I expect more. We should all expect more. That should not be enough. I know that the Muncie Redevelopment Commission, they've gotten into a habit where that's one of the things that Andrew Dale gripes about on that commission, is because the Muncie Redevelopment Commission has gotten into this habit of they do a very loose definition of what the minutes are. They don't even call it minutes anymore. They call it memoranda. And so it's just a loose telling of what happens in the meeting. And so basically, if there is a discussion back and forth between, say, a person in the audience, a citizen, and one of the board members, that whole discussion just might not be in the minutes. If there's a discussion between two of the board members before a vote, that may or may not be in those minutes, and that's not a good thing. You should know who says what in those meetings, and it should be a pretty accurate telling of what happens. That's my opinion. Okay. Yeah, as Kate says, minutes have to be the attendance, votes, and when and where. And that's absolutely ridiculous. So, okay, here we go.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Brand.
Yep. So just in the January 6th meeting, we provided an update since the commissioners put a moratorium in place. That moratorium is in place until March 1st. That's a short amount of time between now and then to get too much work done, considering the process you have to go through if the zoning ordinance is going to be amended. We did receive an amended recommendation from a citizens group, and I wanted to clarify that group was not put together by the commissioners. They were self-motivated, self-funded, self-organized, and they took this upon themselves to make recommendations. And these are people directly impacted by the solar installations that are going in adjacent to their homes. In the meantime, we've received an update from Ms. Christina Blunt. She represents National Grid Renewables. They have also sent us their recommendations for amending the solar ordinance. So we're currently in the mode where we would have to take 3 versions: the current solar ordinance, the recommendations from the Rorton Group, and the National Grid Renewable Group, and compare and contrast those and come up with a recommendation. But the next step after that would be the Planning Commission would have to take action if we're going to amend the solar ordinance and make a recommendation. So if that's what the commissioners end up deciding to do, I'll work with Kylene's office to compare those documents. Again, laying an AI tool over the top of those 3 documents. You can pull in those 3 documents into this document compare tool and write some simple instructions, and it will give you all the differences. You can literally say, what's the difference between a setback? What's the difference between, glare? What's the difference with?
A motion to approve those minutes in a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Next, we have presentations to the commissioners on BW.
And so once again, it cuts, and we lose off a big chunk of what he said. And basically, he's just talking about how there's a lot going on, and he's just he's keeping people abreast of where we are, and letting people know that the date is coming down the road, and there's a lot of work to be done, and what's happening with this group, and he's wanting to compare and contrast. And I think that he's got some issues. These are my own words. I don't know this from him. I did not get this from him. I think that he has some concerns with the ordinance, and he's wanting to fix that. Now, we will hear a large group of people speak about their concerns about the solar. They want solar panels in. So we've heard for the last 6 months about people speaking against solar. All of a sudden, the pro-solar people have come together, and now they're coming to the meetings and speaking out. So you'll get to hear a little bit of that. All right, moving on from here. We jump into a couple different presentations. Okay, this one, I'm not going to listen to the whole thing. You guys can go back and listen to this. For those that are interested, this is Bill Walters, the gentleman from the ECIRPD. And I just want you to listen to what he's got to say here for a little bit.
The new Commissioner Brand was, what is ECI doing and what do we have going on? I give each of you an update sheet in front of you. I'll kind of go down through that. Right now, we have 6 federal grants that are going on or in play. The first one is the EDA Resiliency Grant. That was given to us in 2021, $400,000. That was to help with the COVID effect and to go out into the region, not just to talk, but to put bodies there. We had a full-time 6 interns that we could place throughout the region in different departments, planning and zoning. We had them in mayor's offices, anything that was needed to help recover in any area of the region in any of the 4 counties. We were allowed to use those interns. In 2024, we went through 15 interns. Since the inception, we've had 42 different interns that's worked from Ball State, Ivy Tech, and believe it or not, Middle Tennessee State. So that project is winding up. We finish that up at the end of this month. That'll come up, and then we'll do closeout on that grant. We have raised money through affiliate members and sponsorships. We are keeping the interns going, and I'll mention more of that as we go through some of these grants. The second one is the EDA, Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, commonly known as the CEDS. That will get us more points as far as we apply for grants, federal grants going forward. The third grant there is our newest one, Department of Transportation SS4A grant. That was awarded in 7/1 of 24. That was $500,000. That is for Safer Streets for All. It is trying to eliminate accidents to zero. That is the goal. And what it does is we're in the planning stage of that grant right now. We'll go across all 4 counties. Matter of fact, we've joined forces with the MPO in this region. Delaware County has the only MPO. The RPO, Rural Planning Organization, is now working with the Metropolitan Planning Organization and trying to combine our efforts to reduce costs and duplication of services. They have a lot of information that we can use, and we have a lot that they can use. We're trying to bridge that gap. We have worked on that one. We have the RFPs have went out. We have the consultants contract. They came in a little bit higher than what the first round was that went out because there's a lot more players in the game now. So we had to redo the budget and get it submitted to Department of Transportation for approval. It is on their desk. It was sent a week ago Friday. It is on their desk waiting for their approval, and our project manager has reviewed it, and he's okay. It's went on to Washington, D.C. So we're waiting on that one to come back. USDA Best Grant 5. This one here is just finishing up. You see the end date on it is 6/12/25, but you see only a balance of $2K. This is one of the best grants that ECI has had. BEST stands for Business, Entrepreneur Services, and Technical Assistance. We help every entrepreneur or business that's out there if they are struggling. We've been very successful. We have 6 grants, basically $550,000 we've been given over that 6-year period. We can do their performance plan, their job plan. We can have counseling done. The Kaufman series, Ball State works with us. Ted Baker is another one at the Innovation Connector, along with Small Business Administration. We can help them look for funding. What this does is alleviates their need to go to Indianapolis or to Fort Wayne to sit down.
Okay. So he just says a bunch of words. Okay. There's probably some good stuff they do here. I don't really know, like he's just saying words. Like what companies, if there are any companies out there struggling, we help them. What do you mean? There's lots of companies out there struggling. I bet I could go to find 5 tomorrow that have never even heard of you. I don't know. Listen, I might be, here's the thing I will admit. I might be super, super skeptical of this guy and ECI RPD and all this bullshit because it just sounds like too much government nonsense. It just sounds like too much putting money in my pocket so I can look pretty and act like I'm doing something and we're getting these grants. And, you know, like I'd be interested to find out how much this man's getting paid. And it's like, we've got, this is a nonprofit and this is a for-profit, and we're all getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars from the government to do things. And we're getting paid from this government and that government. It just seems a little bit like, to me. Yeah, it's a bunch of word salad. And so, look, I'm sure there's some good he does. Let me tell you, this is where they're failing. The government's failing. If you don't want me to have a bad opinion, make me understand what you're doing. If you don't want me to have a bad opinion, yeah, look right here, DC Swamp Drainer. ECI has gotten $4.9 million in grants since 2016. I'd like to know how much of that's been paid out. I'd like to know, you know, who got what where, how much did they get paid for doing all of that work. It's just kind of that type of a deal. You know what I mean? Like, this just seems a little too much for me. So that's where I am with that. And like Kate said, there is a possibility, I'm not 100% sure, but there is a possibility that this guy is the bill that is part of the claim that I have an issue with, the had conference with Bill about State Board of Accounts and FBI. Okay, I don't know. It could, I mean, Bill's a very common name, so it could be any number of people, but this is one of the Bills it could be. Obviously, it's not going to be somebody named David. Obviously, it's not going to be somebody, named, Sean. Okay, it's going to be somebody named Bill. This guy's name is Bill. He is one of those people. So that's where I am with that. Now, the other thing is, well, I'll tell you that here in a minute. Stick around because I want to make sure that you guys are aware of something, and we'll get there in a moment. So I'm not going to play any more of this, okay? Because he goes on, Tweety Bird, his hands are literally everywhere, and where you don't think he is, he's still there, okay? And so that's just really strange. So, I question various aspects of what goes on there. And I did want to acknowledge you, GW. I'm aware that Brand is on the Met board. I don't specifically have a problem with that. They have to set on other boards. I guess it just depends on what he does there. If he's voting the right way or not is where, then his being on that board would matter. So, okay, we're going to jump forward here, cause he's there a long time. He was there for quite some time, talking, and he just was talking and talking and talking. Okay. Then it goes to, from there, it goes down to the kind of SWAC hammer. We're going to jump forward there.
Hang on, I've got some stuff for you. So,
oh yeah,
they're a nonprofit. They have to file their taxes. I can look at them.
I'll say it again.
They have to file taxes.
Okay.
I can look at them.
Yeah.
So in 2023, they had 0 employees.
Okay.
But they paid $182,000 in salaries.
Okay. Isn't that interesting? So, okay. In 2000, what year? 2003?
2023.
2023, the ECIRPD had 0 employees, but they paid how much in salaries?
$182,617.
Okay, that's interesting.
Very
Okay.
strange.
Is there anything?
And it's signed by William Walters, executive director. I'm assuming he's the one being paid.
Sure, that would make sense.
So in 2022, they paid $104,000.
Okay.
In 2023, they paid $182,000. Now, it may be that he's not an employee.
Okay.
He only gets paid according to what is brought in from grants.
Yeah.
That he gets a percentage.
Sure.
So the more grants he can write, the more grants he can get, the more money he makes.
Sure.
That may be what it is. I don't know. So you have to create an account. It's GuideStar, guidestar.org. I'll put it up in the comments. You have to create an account. I can't just send you a link to it. You have to create an account and go in. And the account I have is the free version. So I don't have access to absolutely everything, but I'm not paying $1,800 a year to look at nonprofit stuff. So, but I will put that up in the link if anybody wants to.
It gives us quite a bit of information.
It does give quite a bit of information on the free,
you know.
free end. I can look at their tax returns
Yeah.
and stuff.
While you're doing that, can you look and see while we're moving on here, can you look and see what the deal is with Augusta Corp?
Is that a nonprofit?
I don't know. I don't know what their deal is. I don't know what they
Corporation. I can spell. Let's see. In Indiana. Oh, there's only 1,800 of them.
Hey, Audie.
Yeah, Audie tried calling me as soon as I popped on. My phone rang. I was like, oh, well, fuck Audie.
He tried calling me for some reason too. Everybody already can. I can't get in my Google account. Go figure that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to find it. There's over 1,000 Augusta corporations in Indiana, so finding it's going to be a royal booger. So that will be for another day.
Whoa. Wait, why can you not be on the board? Okay, that's fine. I just didn't know if it would be easy or not. What's going on with the board?
The grant writing stuff, it's his bio says he took a grant writing course in 2013 for 2.5 whole days. Isn't that remarkable? What was that one that we were talking about, the organization that did the nuts, the team building crap for Dan? They took that test.
Yeah.
Remember that? And to be certified with them, you have to go to class for like a day and a half.
Yes, right.
And then you can make the big bucks giving the tests to people. Yeah, it does help to know that they're in Muncie, but when there's 1,100 of them and it shows you 10 a page, hunting is a bit booger.
Oh my God.
Oh, for pity's sakes.
Well, there goes that. Well,
then tell the mayor that you need to be appointed.
Yeah. Does the mayor have any more appointments? Or has he already filled them all?
Well, I put the link up for everybody.
All right. Oh, God. I will, call you, I think he filled it 2 years ago. When does it come up? How often? I'll call you tomorrow. We'll figure that. Call me when you're moving around. I'm sure you'll be doing the same thing that you were doing today tomorrow. So call me and we can talk about it. I hate to hear that. I was really excited. Damn it. That's nuts. Well, so the people need someone in unincorporated Delaware County that is a registered Democrat. Okay, so if you're listening to that, Delaware County Commissioners need somebody that is a Democrat that lives in the unincorporated areas of Delaware County to sit on the BZA board. If that's you, have at it. Audie was going to do it, but he lives in the city by like a couple stones throws. All right. Forward ho here. What is this? Yeah, you have to be in the unincorporated areas, so you can't live like in the county in Daleville or in the county in Albany. You have to live in like the unincorporated areas of what's that, GW? Oh, that's who Roger Overby's who the mayor appointed. Yeah. That would sound right. All right, let's move on here.
In case we need to. No, so because we have submitted a letter to the state, we are able to get was a total of $36,875. Our transportation planner, and then our community planner. And then if there's any other additional information you would like, please request it from me. Or if you have any questions. How are you doing on your open positions? Are you?
I think this is a great price for, to replace.
However, they are largely absent of the description, so it's going to be hard to understand exactly what the service was for, but you'll see the dollar amounts. I would request that anybody entering in VIP, you're the one that needs to put the description in there. So anybody that's entering in VIP, you're the one that needs to put the description in there. And then I would ask, I don't know who our VIP super user is, but I would ask if we could provide some training.
Oh,
VIP
Roger lives in the
to,
city.
The folks that are entering these things, I think that would help a lot. So in the spirit of time, I'm not going to go through these claims. They're going to be online. You can look at them yourself, and please come to the next meeting with questions.
So we have a motion and a second to pay the claims. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Let me
Next, we have payment of payroll.
Let me pause this here for a second to answer a couple of things. Number one, Roger lives in the city, so that he would be another good choice, but he lives in the city, unfortunately. Number two, they did, maybe you were up at that time, but they did talk about the chairs, and what he said was he went around to Fred Cummings, who's the 911 director, went to a couple of other vendors, and they were non-responsive. Like, I think from what I heard was one of them didn't respond and the other one responded and they were higher. Also, he heard back from someone else that said that the original thing that they got was a really good deal. And in that same time, Brand said that he talked to Andrew Dale, and Andrew Dale used to have a business doing something in that area. And Andrew Dale said it was also a good deal. So whatever that lease deal was that sound crazy to all of us, they approved. So I don't know what's going on. Sounds like we need to get into the chair business.
For 1/2 of 2025 in the amount of $1,066,965.98.
Second.
We have a motion to pay the payroll for 1/2 of 25 and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes, we have a payment of payroll for 1/15 of 2025 in the amount of $1,110,452.35.
Second.
Here we go.
A motion to pay that payroll and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Next, we'll go to public comments. We have Linda Hanson.
Linda Hanson is obliged to go to another meeting and asked me to stand in for her and read her prepared statement.
Could you state your name, sir, and address for the
Yeah, my
record?
name is Robert Kester. I live at 2709 West Burnell Drive. I've been there for some 40 years. So this is what Dr. Hanson has prepared. I'm just going to read it. Good morning, I'm Linda Hanson, spokesperson for the League of Women Voters of Muncie, Delaware County. The concerns I raise today have implications for all residents of Delaware County. The League of Women Voters supports and promotes an open governmental system that is representative, accountable, and responsive. Citizens have the right to know what their elected representatives are doing. Transparency is crucial to facilitate the public's informed understanding and public participation in government decision-making. The current solar ordinance, currently under moratorium, was crafted transparently. Yes, the process was cumbersome, but we didn't cut corners. Proponents, opponents, and neutral parties all had their say in 2 officially appointed study committees. It followed the procedures of the Delaware County Commissioners and the Delaware Muncie Metropolitan Planning Commission. Our previous moratorium was imposed for specific purposes to allow for further study and recommendations for amendment. That process played out with opportunity for public input. The current moratorium had no specific rationale nor purpose identified. It seems simply to have been employed as a tool to stop renewable energy development. The Center for Infrastructure and Economic Development offers some guidelines for using a moratorium, noting first that it should be an action of last resort because all development moratoriums send confusing and adverse signals to farmers, landowners, project developers, and the public. Having a regular schedule for reviewing and updating local zoning ordinance allows for development to continue and the community to feel confident that the elected officials are continuously maintaining sound policies that support the evolving needs and goals of the community. Essential guiding questions for imposing a moratorium are 3. What is the reason for the moratorium? What is needed to resolve the issues causing the moratorium? And how long will the moratorium be in effect? The current moratorium included only an end date. The document Commissioner Brand presented at the last commissioners meeting purports to resolve an issue, yet the issue is unstated, as is the reason for the moratorium, also unstated. Further, it is addressed by an unofficial group.
That's 3 minutes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next, we have Jonathan Murray.
Now, I've got to say, I'm not a big fan of Linda Hanson or whatever her name is. I tend to agree with GW that they are an organization that parades themselves around as being one that is, very open to, getting everyone registered to vote and da-da-da-da-da. And that's very true as long as you're a Democrat. They tend to be a little less helpful if you are not Democrat. And I'm just not a fan. We just don't really see eye to eye on a lot of things. That being said, number one, I thought it was interesting, so it's kind of interesting to see what they will allow and what they won't allow. So she had to leave, but they still allowed her to be heard, which I'm happy about. don't get me wrong. I think that they should allow that. I also think that they should allow people to give people time. Like, for example, if I sign up and Kate signs up and Audie signs up and Audie is up there speaking and they tell him his 3 minutes are up, I think that Kate should be able to give Audie her 3 minutes if she's signed, if she's going to speak. She can't then get up and speak, I guess, but she can say, hey, I would like him to have my time, or I could do that. I like that they allow that. They do allow that. So I like that. I don't like this thing of saying, hey, it's exactly 2 minutes and 59 seconds and 3, you're done. I kind of wish that they could read the room and see like, oh crap, there's 8 people signed up. That's a lot. But you know what? It's not 30. It's not 30 people. Okay. It's not 70 people. So while I don't value as my person what he was saying on her behalf, and while I think that what they are both saying are off base because they don't live in the area, they exactly said it's Sue's minions, and they're there to do the work of the progressive side of those in Muncie. I don't think that they carry the same weight that the people in the area, the farmers and the families that live out in Royerton and Gaston. I don't think they carry the same weight. That being said, I absolutely think that he should be allowed to be heard, or she should be allowed to be heard, or whatever the deal is there. I just don't like them cutting people off. And he was obviously reading from a statement. It wasn't like he was just going. They could have allowed him to finish. Matter of fact, they could have said, could you give us a copy of your statements? How much more does Shannon Henry have to say? Look, I don't care about anything that you're saying because I then didn't ask to see the rest of what you were saying. He didn't care. He didn't listen. And I make that point right now. I make that point because it's them right now. But when it's us, I would be doing the same thing. So I'm not hypocritical. I want everyone to be given a chance to speak, okay? Whether I agree with them or not. So that's that. I just wanted to make that note. So I want to make that notice and make sure people are aware. I'm not a big fan of what was being said, but it should have still been able to be said, and he should have been able to finish. Okay, let's move along here.
Burrow? Did I say that right?
That's right. Yes, good morning, Commissioners.
Have
Thanks.
3 minutes, sir. I should have
Thank-
reminded.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning. I'm Dr. Jonathan Monroe. I'm a cardiothoracic anesthesiologist down the road, and I have the privilege of taking care of your constituents. They're great patients. They're wonderful patients. I speak on my behalf and not on behalf of my employer. I really speak on the patient's behalf because they all have the right to good air. And so I'm going to ask today that you let renewable energy go ahead.
Oh, God. So, okay, this guy is a doctor, apparently. Thank you for your service and what you do. Please don't kill me if I need to come before you. But I'm interested. Again, where does he live? Does he live in the area? Look, and again, that doesn't matter. He's a citizen. He should be allowed to speak. I don't care if he's from Seattle. Let him speak. But I just want the people out there that are watching this, that are the anti-solar people. I've been telling you, look, the whole time this moratorium has been going, the other side has been preparing as well. So just keep that in mind. They're not asleep. They're not just out there twiddling their thumbs. And what we saw today is probably the largest onslaught of their speakers, because there's several more that come. Matter of fact, I think the rest of the speakers are all pro solar. We're not going to listen to them all. I just want to highlight a little bit from each one so people can see, hey, they are here, they are real. And me, I'm anti solar farm in Delaware County. It's not wanted. You want to put them on Ball Hospital, pal? Put them on Ball Hospital. You want to put them out where Borg Warner was? Rock and roll. I'm not for putting them in farm ground, period. Okay, let's continue on here.
In Delaware County, we don't tend to think much about air pollution, but
we should welcome technology to our community that protects our future. Renewable technology preserves our air, water, and soil. Every assertion you hear about the dangers of renewable energy is covering up for destruction that is already taking place by burning fossil fuels. We can't continue to fight against renewable energy because it makes us uncomfortable or we don't like how it looks. If we continue to delay companies investing in our energy grid, we will miss important opportunities
that want to choose to utilize solar energy on their properties. So in many cases, farmers can make more money from solar panels than crops, and the income is more stable than the income from crops. Diversifying their income stream will help some farm families stay on the land. Of course, most farmers will not put all their land under solar, and they will continue to produce food, but it is important to give our farmers the choice to have this
unique position to understand solar panels, seeing as my family business, my dad started when I was 9, so my entire childhood has been about technology recycling and the ability to process end-of-life technology. He does process solar panels. Currently, he processes them into concrete. But having been from Indianapolis, I have seen what concerns me is that I've seen more and more agricultural areas be caught up in residential creep.
Okay. This woman spends the whole time trying to convince you with her head nods and her eyeballs that she's smarter than you.
And I know for a fact that solar panels are a safe way to preserve the land, to continue to use it for agricultural means later. I know Purdue is currently working on solar panels that are opaque, that you could plant crops underneath and be able to do both. I'm just deeply concerned that we have a lot of landowners who are not able to profit off of their land. And
it's time for the solar
6.
I know that this ordinance pertains to private property rights. Any landowner who goes by these rules and regulations should have the right to put solar on their property. So I'm asking that when the moratorium ends, we go back to the original ordinance that's on the books right now, and I think we can all live from that. And I know Delaware County is concerned about losing farm ground, so I don't understand why they don't want solar on farm ground, because that land will come back to the farm. And they're
glad that Commissioner Brand clarified earlier statements that he made at the last meeting. The solar ordinance document that was handed to commissioners at the last meeting was unofficial. It was not requested or supported by any Delaware County government body. When the document was introduced, it sounded official, but in truth, the report came from a deceptively named group to make it sound official. The document represents the work of people who are against utility solar. When the document was held up, it was described as including a few changes to Delaware County's utility solar ordinance. As I was able to secure a copy of the document, it is by no means includes just a few changes. The county solar ordinance is 10 pages. The document presented is 17 pages. It has more than 50 new paragraphs of guidelines and restrictions, as well as changes in almost every number in the ordinance. In addition, there is a brand new 5-page section dealing with commercial battery storage systems. The unrealistic document captures the dreams and wishes of people who are against utility solar. This document would make it literally impossible for a solar company to build anything in Delaware County. That said, it's time to put the solar ordinance to bed. That means no more changes. Delaware County has a solar ordinance that has been put through the meat grinder. The people against the ordinance and for the ordinance have had their say for nearly 3 years. Neither side has gotten everything it wants. We had a government-appointed group called the Solar Study Group work on an ordinance for 1.5 years, and this was an official group. The Solar Study Group was made up of 3 people against utility solar, 3 people who were neutral, and 3 people who were for utility solar. This committee that advised government officials as to what kind of solar ordinance would work in Delaware County would work best for Delaware County residents. The study group's recommended ordinance was then amended. After the first round of amendments, there was a second round of amendments with the help of a paid consultant. The revised solar ordinance was then recommended months ago by the zoning board and passed by the county commissioners. We have a solar ordinance after more than 4 years of starting and stopping. After a great deal of turmoil, we have an ordinance that utility solar companies are ready to live by. And I would mention they've redone their maps about 3 times in this process, which is kind of expensive to do. But their construction is prevented by the latest moratorium. So I encourage you to keep the moratorium that we have, not to start revising it just because we have a new commissioner. And I will add that from Linda's comments, that adding recommendations from a company, National Grid, does not change the irregular process that we've kind of witnessed in the last few months. Both groups have biases and should not be allowed to amend. The ordinance bypassing public participation. Constituents deserve better.
That's your 3
So
minutes.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
There's your 3 minutes.
Okay, we're going down to commissioner comments. I would like to propose a executive meeting among the commissioners.
Now, at this point, I'm standing up in the back of the room, like trying to get somebody's attention. And I'm like, whoa, whoa. So I text Steven, hoping that he might have his phone on him or he'll be looking. I didn't figure he would. He normally doesn't. But I figured I would try it. So now I'm not being rude. I'm waiting for it to get quiet up there for a second before I interject something. So here we go.
Like next Monday.
After 10 o'clock, I'm good.
After 10?
I believe that's the case. Just double check.
Yep, you good? Yep. So I would like to, John, can you advertise an executive session for next Monday at 10 a.m. In the Commissioners Conference Room? And I would like to discuss personnel issues. Would edit classify as economic development, John?
No.
Can we discuss edit in that?
You can discuss personnel issues. You can only discuss personnel issues.
Can we
One
discuss?
subject at a time.
We can't discuss economic development also?
You can discuss an economic development project.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do personal issues and economic development then.
There we go.
Everybody clear? Next Monday, 10 a.m. We've already handled the 2025 Commissioners Department Head assignments. I just want to say real quick, and then I'll let you guys go. Sherry and I attended the Isaiah House groundbreaking last Friday. Very well attended. Everyone's very excited for that. They are asking for an extension for substantial completion. They did have some issues with permitting. So I would like to make sure we grant a request. I guess that was part of their agreement, from what I understand. And I think, John, your office can provide a addendum to that agreement in that area. So we do have that documented if anyone would like to take a look at it. But I think that's all.
The internet contract.
Mr. Brandon, you have any?
Yeah, a couple things. At the last meeting, we discussed claims being paid in a timely manner, and that last meeting was timed. That day was kind of nasty in the morning on January 6th, and I brought up, do we have an ordinance that allows the auditor's office to execute and pay claims without official action, and there actually is. It's ordinance 2005-001-A. And that allows the auditor's office to pay a number of things, utilities and things like that without official commissioner action. I also talked about the Employee of the Month program. That's been rolled out. Appreciate the help from Kyle Johnson and Sarah on that. We have some nominees, and we have selected our first Employee of the Month. That will be announced in the next meeting, and they'll be recognized here in the public meeting, and they'll have a privileged parking spot as a result. I would like to get on the next agenda the 32 and a half hours that I brought up in the January 6th meeting, as well as I want people to know I'm doing an asset inventory on vehicles and how that relates to their use, after hours, take-home vehicles, things like that. So we'll be discussing that in the next meeting as well. That's all I have.
All right, I'd entertain a motion to recess.
Okay.
You guys start putting your public comment, like, I wasn't here before you guys took it up. You took it up at 9 o'clock, so there was no way for me to sign up.
Well, it comes up at 9 o'clock, so if you get here
You're here after 9 o'clock.
if you just get here a little before 9, you'd be able to sign up.
Shouldn't you be?
Listen to me. The meeting starts at 9 o'clock. His answer was, well, it comes up at 9 o'clock. So if you just get here before 9 o'clock, then you'll be able to sign up. That is literally that dumbass's answer to a constituent. If you get here before 9 a.m., if you're here before when the meeting's here, it doesn't matter that you're here now. It doesn't matter that I'm wasting time talking to you now. It doesn't matter that we are talking at this time. It doesn't matter that I could meet you where you are and that I could let you say your piece. Because you weren't here at 8:58, I'm not going to allow you to speak. Now, keep in mind, it's my belief that the sign-in sheet is unconstitutional to begin with. It's not like I'm asking them to allow me to speak and me only to speak. They have just allowed 7 or 8 other people to speak. And now they are not going to allow me to speak because of this. So he tells me, just get here before 9 o'clock and you can sign up to speak. And then I said, I tried. I could not make that happen today. Now let's go on.
Meet the public where they are.
Okay. If you want to come up afterwards and discuss anything, you
On
can.
the record. For me to sign up.
Well, it comes up at 9
I said, don't you think you should meet the public where they are?
o'clock. So if you get here
You're here after 9 o'clock.
if you just get here a little before 9, you'd be able to sign up.
Shouldn't you meet the public where they are?
Okay. If you want to come up afterwards and discuss anything, you
On
can.
the record.
Sign up next meeting.
That's
I'll
ridiculous.
take a motion for adjournment.
Any of you guys can change that.
Do I have a second?
I would ask you, Fran, to change that. That's ridiculous.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yeah.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. We're in recess.
Okay, so let's just make sure that we get everything else on the record. That's enough of that. I'm done. I'm done listening to that. There's no more of that I'm going to try to play. It's nonsense. So after we said that piece, I said, don't you think you should meet the public where they are? He says, well, you can come up here and say anything you want up here. You know, come up here and tell us whatever you want to say. And I said, that's not on the record. And then he said, well, what did he say exactly? Sign up next meeting. And I'm thinking, is this joker cannot be real. And I'm sitting there looking now Brand is looking directly at me. I'm looking at Sherry, who's, twiddling her thumbs right up her own ass. And I'm thinking, I said, well, any of you could change this. Any of you could speak up and change this. So he goes ahead and he adjourns. And so I just wanted them to know, because I wasn't overly mean. I was far away. And so I was speaking to them from back there, but I wasn't yelling. I wasn't screaming or whatever, but I wanted them to know I needed to redress my government. They weren't acting accordingly. So at that point, I needed them to know that they were very displeasing to me. So in that moment, I said, I just want to let you know this is ridiculous and it's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And then I turned around and I walked out. And I thought, I'm not going up there to address them. And I got about halfway down the hallway. And I thought, no, you know what? I am going to go up there and speak to them. So I marched my happy little ass back down there to them, and I stood right in front of Shannon Henry, and I said, that's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. There's no reason that you should pull that before the meeting's even started. The meeting starts and you pull the sign-up sheet before the meeting starts. That is ludicrous. I said, nowhere else does that. And I said, the county council asks, does a sign-up sheet. And then they ask if there's anybody else that didn't get to sign up. And he's looking at me and I said, he said, just tell me what you want to say right here. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that because it's not on the record. I don't get to hold you accountable for what you say. You're liable to say anything to me and then change what you say later on. To which he says, yes, you're right. And I said, so I want to say what I want to say on the record. And he says, no, you just want to create a show. You're just here to create a show. I said, you don't know what I'm here to talk about. You don't get to say that. So I look at Brand and I said, okay, well, I said, you'll hear it. You'll hear it. I said, you'll hear it before the next meeting. I said, you'll hear it next meeting, what I want to say, but you'll get to hear it beforehand. I looked at Brand and I said, when is the redevelopment commission meeting? So Brand did look in his calendar and he told me it was February 13th. So I think what I'm going to go do is I'm going to spend the night at the county building next time. I think I'll just spend the night. Sunday night, we'll go live from the county building like I did when I moved to Muncie City Hall for 3 days. I'll just go and live at county building that Sunday so I can make sure that I'm waking up and I'm there in time. And what I can do is I can walk in with Shannon Henry as soon as his dumbass walks through the door. So I think that's what I'm going to do. For everybody that remembered when I camped out at City Hall for those 3 days, making sure that Ridenauer responded, guess what? You know what he did? He finally responded, and I was able to stop camping out there. So I will move up to the county building, and I'll stay up there Sunday night. We'll go live from the county building. It will be cold. But we'll make it work. And then I'll be there Monday morning, and I'll walk in when Henry walks in to make sure that we're good. So that is, it's going to be Sunday, February 2nd. The meeting then is Monday the 3rd. So that's the 2nd into the 3rd. That's the commissioners meeting. And then on February 13th is the redevelopment commission. And I'm going to go to the redevelopment commission and speak. So that happened. And he and I had some words back and forth. Henry and I did. And I looked at Brand and I said, you could do something about this. And Brand said, I will look into this and I will see what we can get done. I said, okay, I can respect that. So I left, and then I got a hold of Brand later after I cooled down. I needed to cool down. I needed to cool down because I was really pissed. Because let's listen, Shannon Henry is a pathetic excuse for an individual. It's ridiculous that he calls himself a public servant. He's not a public servant. And what's sad is he had an all right career as a police chief in Albany. He did well. And you know, all of the things that he's done, people are forgetting about that because that's been years ago. He is going out. He's leaving his legacy being this turd of an elected official. And it's bad. It's horrible. It's disgusting. I don't like it. It's gross. And I can't believe that he's okay with doing that, because it's, you know, he thinks in his mind, he and his wife, Beth, tells him that, oh, everybody loves you. It's wonderful. You're one. No, that's not true. Everybody knows that he is a lazy asshole, that he is a horrible public servant that is not living up to the oath that he took. And it's really tarnishing what was otherwise. He's not like James King in that aspect. James King is an idiot. He was an idiot as a police officer. He was an idiot elected official. He's just dumb. Shannon had an okay career as an officer. He did well. He was a good police chief. But this is totally tanking all of that. No one remembers that stuff anymore. They remember him as the horrible public servant. So we have to beat him. He is quickly ticking himself into the public enemy #1 spot. And I'm just going to keep my focus on him, and we've got to be able to beat him. We need someone to run against him. They need to start playing that. Now, I'm going to tell you, I am aware that there are a couple people out there that have been poking around at the idea of running. I am not anywhere in the area of being able to say who those people are yet. I can't say that. That's for them to say. As we get lots closer, you know, we'll talk more about that. But I'm hoping that we see other people run. I would like to see a couple, one or two really good Republicans step up to look at taking him down. Maybe one really good Republican, and I wouldn't mind seeing a Democrat or two step up and see, you know, may the best people win. But we have to take him out. He cannot. Hopefully he doesn't run again, but if he's stupid enough to run again, we have to take him out. And I would love nothing more than to put enough pressure on him to where he just says to hell with it and resigns between now and then. That's the plan. That's what I'm going to be doing. Now, I will tell you, I called Dave. That would be hilarious. So I contacted Brand after I cooled down, and I said, you know, Brand, I said, here's the thing. I said, I'm disappointed about how today went. And Brand said, you know, he said he knew. And I'll tell you, somebody told me, it wasn't Brand, but it was someone else told me that before the organizational meeting, Brand actually had went to Shannon and said, hey, I would like to do what we did at the MSD board at the commissioners meetings with public comments. And Shannon said, what is that? And he said, I would like to do public comments at the beginning of the meeting, and then I would like to do public comments at the end of the meeting. And I'm like, yeah, that would be fantastic. That makes sense. And he said, but when I asked about that, Henry shot me down, said, no, we're not going to do that. And I was like, well, you know, why don't you make a motion and see if it can get voted on? And he said, Sherry told me she was not in favor of changing it either. So listen, it's not just Shannon that gets the shit for this. It's also Sherry Riggin. Sherry Riggin gets shit for this because she is doing whatever the hell it is. She won't stand up with Brand and do the right thing here. That's ludicrous. So I'm like, well, I don't like what this is going on. And I explained, and then I talked to Brand about the issue, what I was going to talk. I talked to him about the claim. We didn't get into it. I'm going to email him the things, and he's going to poke around, and I am going to go to the commissioners meeting and talk about it. I will go up there Sunday night before. We'll camp out. We'll make a big, I'll have you guys along with me. We'll do the show from up there. I don't know how many of you remembered me camping out at City Hall back in 2020, but it was a whole big thing. I moved into City Hall. It was into the outside area. It was a big whole thing we did. But we'll go up there and we'll do the same thing. That way we can make sure that we can be able to ask the government officials a question or get on the record and speak to our public servants. We, make sure that we get there, we will do that. So one thing that Brand left me with, and I questioned whether or not to say this or not. And I don't dime people out. But in my conversation with Brand today, like I said, I'm not talking about everything that we talked about, but I was not addressing Brand in the way that I do when I'm talking to sources. I was addressing Brand as a commissioner because I was unhappy with what I had just witnessed. And Brand said, I'm just going to let you know if or when I'm president of the commission. The president sets the meetings. They set the agendas, and they set the rules, all of that. He said he would change things. He would allow for public comments, to be at the beginning, the end, and to his credit, when I reached out and told him things that he was doing in the Muncie Sanitary District Board meetings, when I reached out and told him there were things that he was doing that I did not like, and I gave him the reasoning, he fixed those on the spot. So to his credit, I do believe him, and I'm okay with that. And for the people who are mad that he didn't right then in the meeting say, hey, let him speak. He's just one person. He's one person. And, I know, and maybe you guys don't. I know that Brand would have let me speak. If Brand would have had the ability for me to speak at the podium, Brand would have let me speak. And I know that everyone's trying to catch him in something or whatever, and that's fine. Hey, look, I'm trying to catch them all. Let me catch a slip and, tuck that slip back up in there because that's what I'm looking for. I'm fine with that. I just don't think that he's going to do it in that way. Brand is very open. Brand is very open to transparency. He will communicate. And if it was Brand's choice, he would have let me speak today. But no matter what he said, Henry would not have let me speak today. So I'm fine with how that happened. And I told him that my aggression, whatever aggression was there, saying, hey, this is bullshit, was not aimed at him. It was aimed at Shannon and Sherry. And so I talked directly to Shannon. He and I had words back and forth. And then I talked to Brand. I will tell you that I didn't just let those two have it and talk about it. I also sent a message to Sherry, and we chatted back and forth by way of text message. So I sent Sherry a text message at 5:40, 5:40 this morning, and or 5:40 this evening, excuse me. And I said, good evening, Commissioner Riggin. I would really like you to think about what a disservice that you, as an elected public servant, are allowing to continue. When you sit quietly, as Shannon doesn't allow a citizen to address the commissioners on the record because of a sign-up sheet that is pulled out of the hallway before 9:05 a.m., you are doing a disservice. The meetings begin at 9 and last until they are done. Your constituents are not school children. There's no need for us to be somewhere before the bell rings or whatnot. The fact that he told me in order to speak on the record, I had to be there before 9 to sign up is ridiculous. Brand doesn't agree with that, and you have to know that. And if you could think back and remember to what it was like when you first became a public servant, maybe you would realize what you're doing is wrong. You need to be there to meet the public where they are. If you would start doing that again, you and Brand could make things better. Or continue to do just enough, the bare minimum. But remember what that makes you. I think that you can do better. To which Sherry responded about 20 minutes later. Sherry said, well, thanks for your honest opinion. Well, thank you. She says, if we didn't have a cutoff, we could see people just coming up to talk after they thought of something else. What? I'm not talking about coming up twice. I didn't come up twice. I was not allowed a chance at bat. We just need this rule. That's probably the most anger-inducing thing that has happened out of everything that Shannon's done, for her to say, we just need this rule. I'm sorry you were late and you don't agree with this rule. They are trying to make me be the bad guy because I didn't show up to their meeting on time. Stumblefoot. She goes on to say, I myself would like to see the meeting start at 10, which helps people coming in from the county and anyone from out of town who are making presentations to us. Sincerely, Sherry. I said, you can't be that daft. You're not understanding what I'm saying. I am not saying let people come up twice or multiple times. I'm saying there would be no harm in having the stupid sign-up sheet out there until the end of the meeting and then pulling it. Or not having the sheet at all and just having people walk up to the podium one at a time. It's not like people are racing up there and you'd have people cutting in line. The county council has figured out a way to make this work. I can't understand that you guys won't do the same thing. That's ludicrous. My fear is the way that you guys do this is going to end up getting the county sued for viewpoint discrimination. I very much believe that I could swing viewpoint discrimination. They stood up and allowed all of the pro solar people speak. But because I said on my last couple of shows that I was going to get up and address this claims issue, they didn't want me to speak. At the end of the day, remember, you're there to serve the people, Sherry. And when you guys make it look like you're doing everything you can to cut people off and to cut people out, you don't look like very good public servants. And that's what I sent her. And she did not respond. So, yeah, that's what they did to Jeanette. I'm saying this is the same thing. This is the very same thing that they did to Jeanette. It's the exact same thing. And I was ludicrous and mad and pissed when they told Jeanette to be there. Well, just come next time. No, I'm here now. What? You just come next time. I think King didn't attend another meeting after that time. That's not true. He did. He attended a couple, but the point of the matter here is what they're doing is ludicrous. They don't care, and it doesn't matter. Listen, I could talk, I could not talk, I could be there, I could be alive, I could be dead. Henry does not care. Henry does not care. My ranting and my raving is not for Henry. My talking at the podium is not for Henry. He does not care. If I talk, if I don't talk, if I show up next time, if I moved to the county building tomorrow and I was there until 2 weeks from now, say I sign up in time and I'm there on the 3rd, he'll let me speak. I'll get 3 minutes and not a second longer. He'll let me speak for 3 minutes. He'll sit there with those glazed over eyes, looking at his watch, looking at his phone, rubbing his beard, rubbing his mustache, rubbing who knows what, sitting there waiting till that 3-minute alarm goes off so he can say, that's your 3 minutes. He doesn't give a shit. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I am talking about this, because we need to understand that. And you and we and me and I and us need to kick his ass out of there. Make it so unpleasant that his stupid ass resigns, running back to Beth in Albany. So that's that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to bring us to the end of the show. If you have enjoyed this performance, please don't forget to tip your waitress and give us a like on your way out the door. We will be here the remainder of the week, and the remainder of our week would be obviously Wednesday and Thursday. Tomorrow, Catherine will be on the show, and we'll be hearing what's going on in her neck of the woods. Listen to this. I'm going to give you just a quick synopsis and just a little teaser. They actually had a commissioner get up and storm out while someone was talking, and he hid in the back room until that person left the podium, and then he walked back. Ludicrous that these people are like, actually, it's like this is not even the real world. Shannon's like, no. The back and forth that Shannon and I had was longer than was like, all told was like 5 minutes. If he would have just let me speak, it would have been 3 and I would have been done. Then in Madison County at the same time, there's a grown-ass man getting up and hiding because a woman is speaking at a podium. Completely insane, man. Completely insane. So we'll check that out tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching. Please share this shit everywhere. I'm going to put a couple shorts up of Henry saying some of his dumbest shit, like the transparency quote, and just come to the meeting next time, all that stuff. So be able to share that out, get that out. We are going to go full court press on Shannon Henry. So thank you guys very, very, very much. Thank you. I'm glad that you did that, Carrie. That's what people need to do. We need to start letting these people know that we're not happy with your actions, and let people know that what they're doing is ridiculous. So thank you very much. I appreciate you guys staying with us. Hit the like, share, subscribe, click the bell, and share the show with everyone you know. You guys have a great night. God bless each and every one of you. Be safe. Have a good tomorrow, and we'll see you back here tomorrow at 9 p.m. for episode 375. Take care. Bye.